And welcome to a would-be special St. Patrick's Day edition of Archive Thrifting. Even though I managed to miss the actual date by one whole day. Unless, of course, you're a $5 or more Patreon supporter. Hint, hint. But then again, there's nothing that says you couldn't just go back and watch this on some subsequent St. Patrick's Day. Oh well. But anyway, this would-be special of mine is admittedly a bit lacking in appropriate material, in that I don't think there's a single item that's in today's footage that you could even loosely tie to St. Patrick's Day. But having said that, there is one little teeny bit of appropriateness to this. I guess that's a word now. And that would be that while I am one of those people that is certified grade A mutt, I mean, I've got ancestors from all over the world. One of the few places that, as far as I know, I have no blood ties to, if you will, would be Ireland. And so I guess it's appropriate that this wasn't exactly one of my luckier thrifting expeditions. Not that I didn't find some stuff. I wouldn't have made this otherwise. But anyway, let's get down to business. And here we are at the Goodwill on a nice, sunny, and unseasonably warm, not quite spring day, but close. Will the finds be a bloomin' today? Let's find out. Well, here's one from the You Know You're in South Dakota When file. A 2-pack of buck lure. You know, to lure them ever-elusive horny bucks. Now, at first glance, I thought this was just an oddly packaged bottle of hot sauce, and, hey, wait a minute. I think I just got the joke. I'm a little slow. Found a small but impressive selection of audio cassettes. Among them, one of my personal favorites, Emerson, Lake and Palmer's Brain Salad Surgery. Nice little nod to Dr. John with that title. And rock snobs be damned, I actually love this album, except for Benny the Bouncer. Anyway, I may still have my old copy of this particular issue of Tears for Fears' Songs from the Big Chair, another album I really love. The Charlie Daniels Band, Million Mile Reflections, or the one with The Devil Went Down to Georgia. Queen's The Game, which I've never actually heard straight through before, so I'll pick it up, and the Charlie Daniels one too. Hall & Oates, Rock and Soul Part 1. I don't think Part 2 ever happened. Anyway, it's a greatest hits, and I've already got all these songs elsewhere, and this album has some pretty nasty edits on it. Hope you don't mind She's Gone getting cut down to 3 minutes, because I do. Anyway, Hank Williams Jr., Rowdy. Missing all my rowdy friends are coming over tonight. What a jip. And I don't care if this album predates that song. Hidden under some audiobooks, I found a second cache of music cassettes, including this one from Bradley. Just Bradley, kind of like Cher, I guess. I wonder how many Jemmy talking Douglas fir novelty trees they had to cannibalize for the green tapes. Anyway, it's not quite local. It's from Bloomington, read suburban Minneapolis. Drat. Bunch of stray, loose records in the vinyl section today, and really nothing too interesting. I would have considered that Bobby Gentry album if it, had the sleeve. Otherwise, it's kinda dull. Oh hey, that ought to look familiar to record ripoffs fans. Otherwise, hey, wait a minute. Dad and the Brown Boys, one more time. It kind of looks like they can't tell if they want to be a polka group, a bluegrass group, or a rock group. Oh, please tell me this is local. Cedar Falls, Iowa. Yeah, that's kind of pushing it, but this looks so odd. And that track list seems to ferret out my suspicion of an identity crisis. You know what, I'm picking this up anyway. This looks just way too weird. God walks these hills with me in the beautiful black hills of South Dakota. You're going to need God on your side and a healthy supply of Dr. Scholl's. Anyway, it's never too early to start filling the candidate box for the annual Archive Christmas episode. Christmas songs that tickle your funny bone on Wonderland Records. But what looks interesting about this one is that it appears to be all original songs, so yeah, I'll take it. And that is a dreadful cover. However, upon further inspection, this is just another one of those Columbia House deals, so it's probably dull as dishwater, so I'm certainly not picking it up just for the cover. Cassettes were 3 for $1 or 99 cents each. There were 4 cassettes I was interested in, so I wound up picking out 2 extra. Anyway, we've got Jerry Jeff Walker's A Man Must Carry On. We've got the Bradley album, which I initially wasn't going to pick up. The Charlie Daniels Band, Million Mile Reflections. Then we've got Keith Whitley's posthumously released final album, I Wonder Do You Think of Me, the other tape I wasn't initially going to pick up. Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Brain Salad Surgery, and last but not least, Queen's The Game. Also got 2 LPs, Christmas songs that tickle your funny bone from the Golden Orchestra and Singers, and finally, Dad and the Brown Boys, One More Time, which may or may not be their final effort. For some reason, St. Vincent's was just swinging that day, so I had to park across the street, and the zoom function on my phone only got me so far. Must be something really awesome in there. In the DVDs, I found, not Degrassi Junior High, but Garfield Fantasies, which rounds up 3 of the more fantasy-oriented Garfield 80s, early 90s primetime specials, all of which I still have on VHS, so this will be a nice upgrade. And while it's not showing too well, it's got a few light scratches and some smudges, but doesn't look like anything I can't handle, though. Now, I've actually been looking for a copy of Ernest Scared Stupid for some time now. I'm not a huge fan or anything, but I've got a soft spot for this one, as well as the Christmas movie, and it looks to be in about the same condition as the Garfield disc. Okay, I guess I ought to explain this one. When I got my first 8-track deck several years ago now, I got a bunch of what I deemed sacrificial tapes from the thrift store bin to use while I tried to fix up the deck. One of them was Bread's Baby I'ma Want You, because, ick, bread. But then it kind of grew on me. The deck ultimately ate the tape, and I was just devastated. Then I remembered I could just buy it on CD, so I did just that. Never did find another 8-track copy, though, but this LP is in pretty good condition. Anyway, how much you want to bet this is another polka album? Emil Koopman and his Jolly Brewers. And this is the real deal when all but one of the titles has either polka or waltz in the title. Not quite local, though. It's from Minneapolis. Oh god, Bach is barfing out another piece of music. And a nice big black box set there. To the Moon. So it's either about Apollo 11 or Jackie Gleason. I don't really do these Time Life boxes. They're unremarkable. Otherwise, we, of course, have to have the Kitty records, but none here that I've never seen before. Oh, hey, Deep Purple, Machine Head, which looks like it's been through the wars, and let's just go ahead and give the phone number of a defunct local record store. And the record is just as bad as the sleeve. If your job depends on smiling, you're in the wrong business. Anyway, paging classical gas emissions, your filing cabinet ran away and somehow found its way to me. Portage la Prairie. Saskatchewan. Alberta. Does Canada only have one filing cabinet? Let's see, 1550. So what's that, $12 American? Mixed in with the CDs, I found a fairly early bit of CD-ROM goodness. The Family Doctor, 2nd edition. Yep, before we had WebMD to make you into a hypochondriac, we had this for Windows, DOS, and Mac. And since there's no date on here, judging by the system requirements, I'm gonna guess this is from about 1994. I am the eye in the sky. Oh, wait, that's a better song from a much better band that they were ripping off. Whatever. Anyway, a few stray public domain Shirley Temple tapes here, a whole lot of X-Library CDs, which are always trashed, and a very cheap issue of one of the 60s kiddie matinee Three Stooges movies, which I actually taped off the Family Channel as a kid and still have, on Good Times. I actually had/have a couple of All Shemp Stooges tapes on Good Times. Anyway, this guy looks familiar. Tony Little. We're really tripping back to the 90s here. You know, I always find myself almost picking up these really common exercise tapes as VHS vault candidates, but it's the low-hanging fruit thing. You know, it's just too easy. Actually, I don't doubt that Tony Little could kick my butt, and look fabulous doing it. Oh, what the duck is this? I think that duck ought to see a vet. Just make sure he's not a quack. That was a foul joke. Yeah, that ought to fill the pun quota. A modest haul from St. Vincent's, 2 DVDs, an Ernest triple feature, of which I really just wanted Ernest Scared Stupid, and Garfield Fantasies, upgrading my old tapes. Also, just because I can, a vinyl copy of Bread's Baby I'ma Want You. Admit it, you like it too. And on to today's last store, Savers, formerly known as Savers. It's a bit of a crap fest in the cassettes today. We've got the umpteenth repackaging of the D Company's greatest hits. And okay, I admit, this fooled me for a split second. Had me thinking that John Wayne made an album at some point. Though that would be interesting, but no, it's just a couple of radio appearances. Alright, Eddie Murphy's first non-comedy or first unintentional comedy album, depending on your perspective. Famous/infamous for Party All the Time. Otherwise, a seemingly original 1975 copy of Captain and Tennille's Love Will Keep Us Together, which was kinda grimy and gnarly, and I just didn't want to put up with it. Paul Simon's first greatest hits, of which I already have all these songs elsewhere. And I would say it was nice to see the tune Duncan on here, but it's the version from his live album, not the album cut the old hippie DJs used to play in Denver when I was growing up. A few 80s favorites in the VHS section today. And I initially thought this was an original 1987-ish copy of Short Circuit, but it's actually from the early 90s. And I passed on it largely because Who's Johnny started playing in my head almost immediately. Otherwise, a not quite original copy of Ghostbusters. This one's from about 1987. I'm gonna pick it up anyway, though, largely because I've never owned a copy of this one in any format. A lot of stuff in the electronics today, but none good, though. Now, I could actually use an RF modulator periodically, but I thought $10 was a little high. I mean, I could fleabay a new one for about that. Now, this was apparently to hook up a bunch of stuff to a plasma TV, as well as home to an HD TV tuner, which could have been useful. I actually would have picked this one up also if it had some, outputs on it, because this would be really useful that way. But alas, it was almost entirely inputs. And as you'll see on the back, this was missing the cord as well, the power cord. Not that I couldn't replace it, it's just a generic one. So yeah, it didn't quite cut it for me. Now, conversely, I found an apparent standard definition tuner as well. I'm assuming that's supposed to mean standard def digital broadcasts. Otherwise, an old pair of rabbit ears would be just as, if not more, useful. Couple of mystery cases here, and let's start with the cheap one. It's a really, really cheap portable turntable, the kind you used to take to the beach with you. It's just as well. I don't have any N speed records anyway. As for the more expensive one, it's apparently a 60s ish hairdryer, which doesn't seem to pop out. Also, got a very little hole to dry your newly painted nails, one finger at a time. In the compartment, it's just the power cord. And this thing absolutely reeked, and I'm not sure what the scent was, but it was bad. I don't see 8mm cameras too often. Of course, curious little monkey that I am, I've gotta see if the gears still spin. Yup. Anyway, if I wanted to experiment with this kind of thing, they've started making Super 8 film again, but not Standard 8, so this would be useless. Of course, I'd really like to do Super 8 sound, but that hasn't come back yet. I'm trying to be optimistic. Anyway, this thing looks really nice and clean, but it would be nothing more than a display piece, so I'm gonna have to pass. So this has got to be a flash for a still camera, but unless it's Polaroid, I don't really do analog cameras anymore. And a kind of bracket to attach to the camera there. So there's the cord. Now I've got no experience with flash bulbs here, so I couldn't tell you how this works. And what's this? Some kind of ad? Oh, I don't know. Even though there's no pictures or anything explicit on this ad, should I be censoring this? Okay, why is this packaged with the camera stuff? Don't delay, order today. Money back guarantee. Oh, that's nice. It comes in an extra strength formula. 15, 30, 60-day supply? Yeah, it took me a minute to figure it out, but I think I stumbled onto someone's homemade pornography rig. Yeah, there's nowhere to go from here. This segment is over. And the haul from this store consists of a possible record ripoffs candidate found off camera. This claims to be a re-recorded version of Ted Nugent's 1975 solo debut, but I've also come across these where they just turn out to be bootlegs. It needs repair, so I won't be able to confirm anything until after that's done. And of course, I also picked up a reasonably early VHS copy of Ghostbusters. And the somewhat modest final haul for this episode consists of 2 DVDs, an Ernest triple feature 2-disc set, mostly just for Ernest Scared Stupid for me, and Garfield Fantasies. We've got 1 VHS tape, a fairly early copy of Ghostbusters, which I've never owned at all prior to this. We've got 1 8-track, a possible bootleg, possible complete re-recording of Ted Nugent's solo debut. Then we've got 3 LPs, and on a very different note from the Nuge, we've got Bread's Baby I'm a Want You, we've got Dad and the Brown Boys with One More Time, and the Golden Orchestra and Singers with Christmas Songs That Tickle Your Funny Bone. Lastly, we've got 6 cassettes at 3 for $1. So we've got, in order, Keith Whitley's posthumously released final album. We got one from Bradley, just Bradley. We got one from the Charlie Daniels Band. We got one from Jerry Jeff Walker, which unfortunately had gone sticky, one from Queen, and one from Emerson, Lake and Palmer. And I've gotten kind of used to hearing Carnival 9 uninterrupted on CD, so this will be a blast from the past for me. Anyway, the cost of this haul came out to about $10. Easily one of my cheapest. And that is it for this installment of Archive Thrifting. I'll talk to you again soon.